marks the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. The government launched a campaign to end gender violence today, encouraging Canadians to take the pledge on social media. It's part of the UN's 16 Days of Activism, a global campaign tackling gender violence. So how serious is this issue here in Canada? What challenges still need to be overcome? Well, joining me now, the Minister of Status for Women, Hajdu. Thank you so much for joining us today. Pleasure to meet you. So tell us a little bit about the campaign that was launched today.
Well, this is, as you mentioned, it's a global campaign. It's international. It's something that, has a couple purposes. And one is to make sure that we elevate the conversation about gender-based violence, but also to engage communities, whether it's global communities, national communities, local communities, and really taking an interest in some concrete steps to end gender-based violence.
And moving it to also the internet and social media brings it up as well. So tell people how they do that.
Well, I think, first thing, everybody can go and take the pledge, which would be wonderful. So it's easy. You can go to women.gc.ca and you can take the pledge. It takes, a second or two. And that you add your name to a growing number.
Very easy.
Very easy, right? And it's something that you add your name to the voices of people that are concerned about gender-based violence. And so that's something easy that people can do. But I think also, to have conversations in your own family, I think these conversations need to start early, and they need to start at, and it doesn't matter what
genders.
That's right. That's right. I'm a mom of 2 boys, and I read a really pivotal book years ago called The Courage to Raise Good Men. Can't remember the author, but it was something that informed me as a parent about how I would have conversations with my emerging young men about relationships, about women, about their responsibility as peacekeepers in their own community.
So you're a mom of 2 boys, but also you are the former head of a women's shelter in Thunder Bay, so you have a lot of experience in this area. There's really no simple solutions. However, what is some practical advice you could give?
Well, first, I'd just like to correct you. It wasn't a women's shelter. It was actually a shelter with both genders. So it was a low barrier shelter for both men, women, and young people. So it's a complicated environment. I think one of the things that we need to know is that, of course, every woman is at risk of violence. However, women that are marginalized, oppressed, living in dire poverty, don't have a lot of extra supports, are not included in society in any mainstream way, are at far greater risk than other women, because the solutions are not as easily found, right? So
they don't have the support systems.
They don't
maybe
not even family members that they could turn to. And so we have to remember that not everybody's solutions are the same, and that women in particular that are living in those circumstances are often victimized frequently, daily in some cases.
And not having that support system behind them, just a family member, can make it that much more difficult.
That's right, and oftentimes their victimizers are their protectors. I mean, it's a very complex world, and so, we've seen women, be severely abused by someone that they love, and then return, of course, to that person, because that person is offering protection from even greater abuses on the street. And so, at that level, the solutions are extremely far and few between. But we know that some of the solutions this government is putting forward in other portfolios are going to play a pivotal role in helping women and all people that are facing violence in their lives, and one of those would be affordable housing.
Right.
So the issue around housing is so intersected with many of these symptoms, as I call them, of a failing social safety net.
Let's talk about a major part of your mandate, and that's working with the Justice Department, the Indigenous Affairs Minister on the inquiry into murdered and missing Aboriginal women. Now, you're in the pre-consultation phase of this, which means what?
Well, we haven't launched any phase yet, but what we are considering is that we want to make sure that this is done fully respecting the voice of families, the voice of communities, the voice of many organizations, both national and local, that have done work on this issue. And so what we're looking at right now is having a pre-phase, basically, to set the parameters and determine what will this inquiry look like, and then moving forward with all that expertise and all those partners beside us to make sure that this inquiry is done in a way that is meaningful and is useful to the people that will need it.
What could you envision it looking like right now?
You know, it's funny, I don't have a vision yet. I really don't. And I think that's because I really want to stay open to the possibility of what it might look like. I think it's so easy for us to have a vision based on other inquiries, other commissions that have happened. But I think the key for us right now is to stay open to the possibilities of what it might look like and know that we're going to get some great ideas from all of those partners I mentioned.
I just want to talk about quickly, because we don't have a lot of time, disturbing new data that was released by Statistics Canada today. Aboriginal women 6 times more likely to be homicide victims than non-Aboriginal women, 3 times more likely to experience sexual assault. What do those numbers reveal?
Well, they reveal, first of all, the need.
What needs to be done.
You know, first of all, they reveal the need for the inquiry, and this is something that, you know, we talked about extensively in the campaign and over the last several years. So we're very happy to say that that's something we're moving forward. But it also speaks to the systemic exclusion, the colonization, the dire poverty, the reality of daily racism that Indigenous women face. And in my community in Thunder Bay, you know, this is something that not just women face, but also Indigenous people from all ages and backgrounds. And so for me, it speaks to the fact that this is a conversation that we haven't had in a very fulsome way. And I'm really excited to be part of a government that wants to have that conversation.
Patty Hajdu, Minister of Status of Women, I want to thank you for joining us and speaking to us about these topics today.
Thank you so much, Anna.